Quavo, Takeoff, they was down here with y'all. But they seen you walking by. He's laying on the ground. You got Mike bending down, and they seen you walking.
Quote Takeoff. They was down here with y'all, but they seen you walking by. He's laying on the ground. You got Mike bending down and they seen you walking by. What took place there? You were wrong about what you done. You was the root of being wrong that caused him. When Mike and Junior was walking by, he actually went in the restroom to wash blood off his hand where he had reached up under Takeoff. He had to pick him up. And I'm going to tell you like this. If you're 60 years old and you're trying to be a street, you failed. You failed. You are not ready for what's about to hit. This leak call just flipped the hip hop world on its head. Last night, Mase did the unthinkable. Dropped a private conversation that was never supposed to see daylight. Now, social media is in overdrive. Houston is buzzing. And even legends are scrambling to make sense of it all. Was this a power move, a desperate act, or the spark that'll bring hidden secrets out of the shadows? Stay right here and don't blink. By the end, you'll have every jaw-dropping detail that nobody else will tell you. Mase just pulled the pin on the biggest grenade the culture has seen in years. He leaked details of a private phone conversation between J. Prince Jr. and Takeoff. Not just any conversation, but one that allegedly took place just hours before Takeoff's tragic death in Houston. Once officers arrived, they came upon a male who was deceased. That male has been identified as Kersnick Ball, better known as Takeoff. And when I tell you the fallout has been nuclear, I'm not exaggerating even a little bit. Prince Jr. is reportedly losing his absolute mind right now. We're talking full-scale damage control, cryptic threats on social media, scrambling to rewrite narratives that were never supposed to see daylight. But here's the thing. Once that Pandora's box gets cracked open, there's no shoving the truth back inside. You think you know the story of what happened that night in Houston? Think again. Because what Mase just revealed could flip everything you thought you understood about power, loyalty, and who's really pulling the strings in this game we call hip-hop. Buckle up, because by the time we're done here, you're going to see the whole industry through completely different eyes. Older people, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little M like the way you talking. I don't get what you mean. Let's talk about the cast of characters in this unfolding drama, because understanding who these people are is crucial to grasping why this scandal has the potential to topple empires. First, we have J. Prince Jr., the heir to Houston's most controversial street legacy. For years, his name has been synonymous with the check-in culture that supposedly keeps visiting artists safe in hometown. But lately, that protection has been looking more like a protection racket, and people are starting to ask uncomfortable questions about what happens when artists don't play by his rules. Then there's Mase, the Harlem legend who walked away from Diddy at the height of his career, battled the entire industry establishment, and somehow came back swinging harder than ever. This isn't some desperate artist looking for Attention. This is a man with nothing to lose and everything to expose. When Mase speaks, people listen because his track record of calling out industry corruption is unmatched. All that big homie stuff, that's for little N have big homies. We're not little. Takeoff. The quiet genius of Migos, the one who stayed out of the drama, focused on his craft and respected the culture. His tragic death shook everyone, but the circumstances surrounding that night have left more questions than answers. Now, with Mase's revelations, those questions are becoming accusations. And we can't forget Cameron sitting in the background, notably not stopping Mase from spilling this tea. That silence speaks volumes because Cam usually plays it safe and smart. His decision to let Mase go off tells you everything about how deep this goes. Now, let's get into the heart of the controversy. The alleged phone conversation that Mase claims to have knowledge of. According to his account, this wasn't some friendly check-in or Big Brother advice session. This was Jay Prince Jr. allegedly pressing Takeoff hard about loyalty, about playing by certain rules, about falling in line with expectations that were never explicitly stated but always understood. Mase painted a picture of a conversation that went sideways fast. He described Prince's tone as aggressive, controlling, trying to manipulate the situation from behind the scenes. And here's the chilling part. This call allegedly happened on the same night that Takeoff would lose his life outside that Houston bowling alley. Think about that timing for a minute. You've got a young artist minding his business, trying to enjoy some downtime with his family. Then you get a call from someone who expects certain things, demands certain respect, and doesn't take kindly to being told no. Hours later, shots ring out, and a 28-year-old genius is gone forever. Mase didn't just drop this information casually. He'd been sitting on this for months, watching Jay Prince Jr. throw subliminal hits on podcasts, watching him try to control the narrative around what happened that night. But when Prince crossed the line with his comments about Offset and family loyalty, Mase decided it was time to reveal what he knew. I would say to that is, I have a track record, man. And the Prince family have a track record of 30+ years of, what I mean, honoring and loving on our guests and being with our guests. And no, like this never happened. The way Mase tells it, this wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a pattern of behavior, a system of control that uses fear and intimidation disguised as protection. And if that's true, then Takeoff's death wasn't just a tragic accident. It was the inevitable result of a toxic power structure that values control over human life. The moment Mase's revelations hit the internet, you could practically feel the seismic shift happening in real time. Prince Jr.'s response wasn't the calculated, measured reaction of someone confident in their position. It was the desperate scrambling of someone watching their carefully constructed image crumble in front of millions of people. Social media became his battlefield, but every post, every cryptic message, every thinly veiled threat just made him look more unhinged. You could see the panic In his words, the realization that the old playbook, intimidation, silence, unquestioned respect, wasn't working anymore. The internet doesn't operate by street rules, and Mase had just weaponized that fact. Never respected in the streets. That's why I always got the problems I got. Would. But Prince made it worse by going after Offset, suggesting he wasn't really there for Takeoff when it mattered. That was the moment he revealed just how out of touch he'd become, attacking a grieving family member, trying to use their pain as ammunition in a war of words. That's not the move of a respected elder statesman. That's the desperation of someone who knows they're losing. Speaking on my real brother, I don't know what y'all got with the going on. Why? On my real brother. How dare one of y'all speak on me and Tate relationship? I don't know you, a can of y'all don't know how me and my brother rock. The most telling part, the way Prince kept trying to flip the script to make himself the victim of some coordinated attack. But the streets weren't buying it. Fans weren't buying it. Even industry insiders who'd stayed neutral for years started raising eyebrows. When you're used to controlling the narrative through fear and intimidation, what do you do when those tools stop working? Prince's attempts at damage control revealed more than they concealed. Every defensive post, every angry response, every attempt to minimize Mase credibility just reinforced the image of a man whose empire was built on sand. And once that foundation starts shifting, the whole structure comes down fast. The matter is, he wasn't really right there with Takeoff when he was alive. You know what I mean? What happened next was something beautiful and terrifying to watch. The democratization of hip-hop justice.